So the card deck challenge. I'm stuck basically where
Okay.
I'm at. I feel like I've kind of put something together, but I want you to take a look at it. I've got a few issues. You'll probably notice them right away.
Okay.
Um,
Um, Let me open up a new thing here, and I want to try something with you. Let's see if we can
okay.
get this to work. I don't know if we did this before. Um, I'm going to give you a link
Okay.
that you can just click on, and I'll just put it into the Hangout chat. All right.
Okay.
So
Cool.
here it comes. And when you click on this, you should be dropped
hmm
into my session.
Perfect. Yes. All
You
right.
are?
We're good. Yeah, I can see it now.
All
Yep.
right. So then I'm going to copy I'm going to grab this code of yours real quick, and we can look at it
Okay.
together. Um,
Sure. That'd be great.
I'll make this a little bigger. Ugh. Code. Alan, or what did I call it? Firehose. Alan. Yep. I don't have anything for you yet. And this thing you gave me. Whoa. There we go. Oh, that's not what I want. I just want. You named the repo Firehose Project Code Challenges?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Okay, I got it. Yeah, that's a good idea. And
Thought that there's going to be many coming up, and I could just kind of put them all in there and then name files as I need to.
okay, so it looks like it's a Ruby on Rails project with, and then you have card deck just in there. You just threw it in there.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, and I probably shouldn't. I didn't need to set it up like that.
Well, that's all right. I mean, you can move it around later. But you can just make a folder, a separate folder for the Ruby on Rails thing, whatever that is. But
Okay.
no biggie. So let's look at card deck here.
Sure.
And can you see what's here?
I can.
Okay, I'm going to clean it up a little. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, why did that happen?
Did that
Because
happen?
I noticed it. I noticed it on GitHub that it was that way, and I kind of brought it back in and looked at it, and I wasn't seeing that on my end. And then I went back in and set it back up again, and it like didn't change anything. I don't know.
I think these are just tabs, I think. You're talking about this, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And you can configure your text editor to, well, one thing you can do to have this not happen is you can just stop using tabs, but that's not
Okay.
reasonable. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
you can configure your text editor to every time you hit tab, just space 2 times.
Yep.
You basically want to avoid tabs in your code.
Yeah, and that's what I thought I had it set up to. That's what I mean. Like this top part up here, like the class card.
Yeah, that's fine.
When I pull it up in my editor, it looks the same way. But then like here, I don't know. Anyway, I'll look at it again.
Okay, I mean we can dig into that if you want to, but it's no biggie. It's really easy just to I just highlight everything and tell my thing to reformat it, and it just
Okay.
fixes it all. So
Yeah, sorry, amateur hour here.
no, it's the same stuff everyone wrestles with at some point. It's like it's um, so okay. So here's your card. Refresh my memory on the purpose of this thing. I'm not.
Yeah, so basically there's a bunch of videos where we kind of create a card, and then the next thing to do is to build a deck of cards. So they gave us the card, the class card, and we had to build basically class deck. So we wanted to build a deck, and then in that deck, we wanted to eventually shuffle the deck and then draw the first card off the deck. Is what we
Okay,
wanted to do.
I got you. Okay, so let's walk through. So they gave you the card class, you built the deck class.
Correct.
Okay, so when you make a new deck, I'm going to open up something here on the right that I can play with this stuff. When you make a new deck, it's supposed to right away create the deck of cards. So here you make an empty array. These are all your ranks. Here's your suits. And okay, I like what you're doing there.
Okay, cool.
That looks good. I
That's
mean,
cool.
you might have trouble because you're sort of mixing here in your ranks. You got some symbols and then you have some numbers.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you that. How do you like what do you think the best way to go about that is? Like, yeah, I was wrestling between that.
Well, I think you can make a number. Let me see here. Sometimes when I want to know if the thing's possible, I just fire up IRB. IRB is,
Hmm.
and I'm just like, can you do this? And it's like, no, you cannot. I can.
Okay.
So you can't make a symbol like that. I don't think. Yeah. So
Nope.
I had to try.
Okay.
Sometimes you never know. Anyways, well, let me just look a little further to see what we're trying to do.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay. So up here, when you make a card, you give it a rank and a suit. Okay. Ah. Well, here's the thing, Alan, is if
Yep.
you look at what they gave you,
Yeah.
they gave you this code here that I'm highlighting.
Yep.
Okay. So this implies something. So like you see this thing here that says rand 10.
Yes.
So like if we go over here and you do rand 10, it's going to return something between, I think between 0 and 10. Yeah, there's the 0. It might be 0 and 9.
Yeah.
Let's see if a 10 ever shows up. This is the, like, hypothetically, we could do this for years and still never see a 10. But it looks like it's between 0 and 9. Rand 10 is going to give you... Okay, so that implies to me that the way that they are assigning the rank is not with, specific symbols like ace. Like, you determined this collection here.
Yeah.
But to them, the rank is it's a number. It's just an integer.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You could just do this. Let's just do this for starter, or actually like this. Right?
Yep. Gotcha.
And is that right? Let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, that doesn't make sense because...
So like
Wait
I
a minute.
think that ran 10, they said like let's just build a random card and it's going to be the 10 of spades. I think is what they were referring to. When I'm trying to think back to the videos.
Okay. So, like, the lowest card is the 2, right? Like, we're all dealing with the same deck here.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So if the 2 is 0, then... Okay, so... so I'm trying to think. So you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 9 cards. And then you have Jack, Queen, King, Ace. That's 4 more. There's 13. Okay. There's 13 different possible ranks, right? So shouldn't this be... I'm just frustrated because I don't like to meddle with what they gave you. It's just that it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Because when they do card new rand 10, they're saying give this new card a rank between 0 and 9.
Okay.
That's what they're doing there.
Okay.
So this is a spade of some kind and its rank is 0 up to 9, and it seems like you should say something like that.
Okay.
Doesn't it?
It does.
But I just hate to touch what they gave you.
Well, I guess we'll find out. I don't know.
Well, anyway, let's just do it the way we think is right.
Okay.
As long as you understand why.
Yeah.
like a card is going to have a rank between 0 and 12 that corresponds to 2 up to ace.
Yes.
All right, so that's interesting.
So I've got a question, like right where you're at there. I did some stumbling. So the deck of cards that's a whatever, an empty array. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. And
Okay.
I'll tell you something, Alan. Terminology is everything, and so when you don't despise it, like you're doing great. like,
Okay.
like if you say if you're vague, I'm going to call you out and make you be really specific because it'll save you. All right. So go ahead.
Perfect. Okay, and so the ranks and the suits, what I have below that, what would those be called? Are those arrays as well?
Those are also arrays. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how do I guess I don't understand, I guess, how does it know that what I'm putting there, the ranks and the suits arrays, how does that know that basically that goes into the deck of card array?
Sure. Well, one of the coolest and most enjoyable parts of Ruby is how many different ways it gives you to play with arrays, and arrays fancier cousin, the hash, which you probably have used already too. So let's look at that. So like, what I'm going to do is jump down. Oh, you have a lot of comments down there. Okay, I like this. No, that's
like testing out as I was building things.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So I'm going to jump down all the way to the bottom, and I'm going to do... Oh man, I just can't remember how to do this stuff. Well, let's make an array. I'm going to grab something that you put up here. So let me grab suits, okay? And I think I have to do that. And then I'm going to run your code here. What is this called? Card deck?
Yep.
Okay, now that command, I did IRB and then -R, and I passed it the name of your file. So what that basically does, it'll load up everything you've done in the file, and then it drops me here so that I can do stuff like, you know, I can say card, and it's like, yeah, we got one because it's been defined in your code. So if you want to like interactively play with what you've built, you can use IRB like that.
Okay.
And it's super helpful. Anyway, so like I made this array. That didn't work. That's interesting. You have to do that. Well, anyway, I'll just make a new one. So I'll make an array. Wait a minute. Why didn't that work? There's a way to... is it like that? Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Oh, that's not even allowed. Okay. Let's try it again. Suits. There it is. I wonder why it didn't work before. So if you want to like put some stuff into variables, you have to preface it with this $sign. Don't worry about that right now. Anyway, so here's an array called suits.
Yep.
And your question was, you know, how are we taking that array? Okay. So here we have this rank array that goes all the way. We're actually going to take it all the way up to 13. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Or actually 12. Okay. There's your 13 ranks.
Yep.
And did you write this?
I did.
Okay. So, I mean, it seems like you know what you're doing here. You're basically saying, you know, if I do suits.each, do suit, and then I can print out the suit.
Yeah.
And you know, you can see what it does there. Does that make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
You're saying go through this collection and then do this thing on each member of this collection, this array.
Yep.
Okay, so what you're doing here is for each rank, you're starting with 0.
Yep.
so like the first time you go through this, rank is 0,
Yep.
and then you're saying for each suit do this, and so then as you go through it, the suit is equal to hearts,
Uh-huh.
and then this is the line maybe that you don't know what's going on. And so what you're doing is you're saying deck of cards, which is empty right now.
Yep.
I want to add an element to it. That's what that operator is. That is called the shovel. That less than less
Yeah,
than.
like that's going to push whatever's on the right-hand side into that array.
Right. So if I make something here, my deck equals if it's empty, and then I can do my deck.
Yep.
And now my deck.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, you're with me. Okay.
Yep.
So as you are looping through each rank, for every rank, starting with 0, it goes through each suit, and then it adds those 4 cards to the deck. And so by the time this is done, deck of cards should have 52 items in it.
Yes, and I think you can try running it. It does, but I couldn't get it to actually like say whatever rank and suit. It would just spit out card number, random XYZ 1 2 3 4 5 6.
I see. All right, well that's no problem. Let's figure this out here. Okay. So down here, are you creating a new deck? Oh, so you do have your new deck, deck.new. Let me just do that. Let's quit out here, reload it. Okay, so deck, I'll do it myself. Deck equals deck.new. There they are.
Yep.
So deck, that's ugly.
Yep.
So
yep.
If I say deck, what's the name of the cards? Deck of cards. Dot size 40. That shouldn't be. Why is it only 40? Did I not save this or something?
See, rank's only going up to 9. Right here.
Yeah, but why?
Right? Am I seeing that right?
Where are you seeing that?
On the right hand side of the screen here, the output.
Yeah, maybe I didn't save it or something.
Let's see, it's going 0 3.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, let's try it again.
No, you're good.
Deck equals deck.new. Is it going up to 30? There it goes. Okay, now.
Okay.
So deck of cards dot size. There we go. I must have.
Okay, I was gonna say because I was getting 52 earlier. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
And let me just make a suggestion here. Is like your entire class is called deck, so you might not need to say deck of cards because you could just call this cards, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And just simplify it a little bit.
Yep.
And just cards and oops. It's everywhere. Sorry.
There you go.
I'm second guessing that decision. I didn't realize how. Okay.
Wait.
There we go. Okay, I think we're okay. All right. So.
Okay.
And so you want to output each card.
Yeah, and I don't know if that one's actually working. Like, I could get it to spit out the rank. Well, quote unquote rank. It was just kind of giving me a random card number. I could get it to spit out a rank. I could get it to spit out a suit. The deck of cards was what you're seeing on the right.
Mm-hmm.
I could get it to shuffle. I could do the shift, but it would still only give me the 1. Basically, like, I was getting confused, like, right here, like, out a random card number and not. What am I missing? Why is it not saying, 2 of hearts?
Gotcha.
Or is that further down that I missed something?
No, I mean, I think what we should do is this function here, output card.
Mm-hmm.
So that exists on every card. That this method
right.
is possessed by every card. And so what you have in your deck, let me exit it and run it again with our new terminology. So when we come in here, so if I say deck.cards.first, it'll grab the first element out of your cards. And there it is. It is the 0 of hearts, right? But because if I want to find out what that is, see, I can say, oh, what class are you? And it'll say, I'm a card. And so we're like, oh, I know what that is. I defined you already. And you have these 3 methods, and one of them is output card. So if I say output card, if I send you that message to run that method, it should say, now that I don't understand. Oh, because I didn't, sorry, my bad. There we go.
Okay, yeah, you didn't have to put card there. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So I call output card on your card, and it'll say 0 of hearts.
Yeah.
Which is...
Okay, that makes sense.
So if we want to... like if you just want a kind of pretty output of what's in your deck, for example, how about that? Just like 52 lines of the deck saying what it is, then let's see how to do that. Like you've got initialize, that builds your deck. Now you're carrying this deck, and and then you got shuffle in here, which I don't know if you wrote shuffle yet.
Yeah, it might actually. It was a day or so ago that I was working on this.
Okay. Well, let's start with
They might. Some of them might work. It just got down to the end, like the output. I think it was starting to get a little squirrely, maybe.
Okay. Well, let's make you don't seem to have a method here to print out your deck or I don't know, display your deck.
Yeah, I guess the only way I was doing that was cards, right? Line 12 or what you've got there. Define a deck of cards. Would that put out the entire deck?
Oh, well, what that would do is show this output that's on the right. You know, it would show every card object in the deck, but it's ugly. It's like you're seeing everything, even like the funky number that identifies.
Yeah, that's what I was getting, and I think I was getting a little confused because of that.
Okay, so
or
like,
upset. That's where I started to get stuck.
So you could define a method, and we could call it, you know, pretty cards or something, or you know, how about list cards?
Yeah.
Right. And what you want to do here is go through all your cards and cause them to print out only the stuff you care about. So how would we do that? And I can kind of keep going and keep doing it, but how would you do that? It's very similar to how you would initialize the deck. Well, no. Actually, it's not. It's not similar. Like, how would we go through each card and then cause it to say, I'm the 2 of spades or whatever?
So you need to tell it to put something?
Mm-hmm. First of all, how do we get all the cards? How do we reference that?
Deck.
Well,
No?
Yeah, but because we're already in your deck, like we don't have to say deck anymore. It's implied that deck is basically self.
Card? Okay.
So let me backtrack a little bit, and I'll explain a little bit about instance variables. You see how at the top here in your initialize method, you create this empty array called cards, and it has a little @ sign in front of it?
Yes.
So, and then these things, ranks and suits, they don't have @ signs. They're not instance variables. And right. I'm ashamed to admit to you how long I programmed in Ruby without really knowing the difference, which is crazy because it's so fundamental. But basically, your any class is kind of like it's supposed to be like this contained concept, cohesive concept about a thing, like, oh, this is a deck. And so instance variables are variables that you can declare inside a class that are available, visible to every single method inside your class.
Okay.
If you haven't done a whole bunch of programming before, that doesn't resonate. But with most languages, for a function or a method to see a variable, it has to be passed to it as a parameter, like this. But anyway, because you put an instance variable here, because cards is an instance variable, you're basically saying anybody inside the deck, any method can refer to cards and get cards.
Get cards. Okay.
So here we are in list cards, and we need the cards, and all we have to do is what? All we have to do is say cards.
Yeah.
We got them. Because list cards is already inside the deck class, and this cards is an instance variable, we have the right to access it. But what do we want to do with it? Here, let's just stop there, and I'm going to change this thing at the bottom a little bit and put a $sign in front of it so I can refer to it easily. And let's run this again. Okay, so if I say deck, here's your deck. Now if I say list cards, look, our method's working, right?
Yep.
But all it's doing is spitting out an array of card objects, right? Because that's what's in your cards array. Your cards array was empty,
Right.
but right here we filled it with 52 card objects, and that's what we're seeing on the right there. And we don't want to see everything about each card object. We don't care about that. We just want the juicy suit and whatever that is, the rank in the suit. Okay, so how can we, instead of spitting out this whole collection, how can we just go through it and ask each card to give us that?
Oh, goodness. Is it part of that, the hashtag and the, I'm drawing a blank on what it is.
No, it's okay. So much of programming is it's just seeing it done and then going, oh, well, that makes perfect sense. And then you store
Right.
that.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not that intuitive. Okay, so, but basically Ruby has methods that let you iterate through collections and operate on them. And what's that method called? Here it is under my cursor.
Oh, there, yeah. Each do.
So let's do this. So we'll say, cards.each do, and then you've got to create a little temporary variable to hold each item. We'll just call it card because that makes sense. And then what do we want to do with each card in your 52 card deck?
Can you refer to anything in the class? You want to output the card, right?
Yeah, and so every card has a method we can call on it, right? I forgot what it's called.
Yep.
What is it called?
I think it's just output card.
Yeah, so we can just say, how about each one of you guys call output card on yourself? Okay, now let's see what that looks like. Now if I do deck.listCards, it worked, but then it still spat out that thing at the end. Why did it do that? Let's see here. Oh, because I think that's what got returned. Let me try that. Sorry. Deck. Do I have a history I can refer to? I do. There we go. So list cards, it works, right? It looks nice. And you can see it's totally unshuffled.
Yep.
That's interesting that it still spits out. It's so funny. I have these holes in my Ruby knowledge. I really don't know how to stop that. I don't want to put nil. I don't want to put nil there, but I don't. I also don't want it to spit out cards.each do card output card. Well, whatever. for now, I'll just put a nil there to keep it from doing that. Okay, so
And I think that's what. Yeah. Okay, keep going.
well, so this is fine, except there's no such thing as the 12 of clubs, and there's no such thing as the 0 of clubs, right? So what you want to do,
Right.
I don't know if this is something you want to do, but you would want to work on, a card may have a rank between 0 and 12, but when you ask it to describe itself, it shouldn't give out numbers like 0 or 12.
Right.
Right. So,
Mm-hmm.
do you want to solve that problem real quick?
Sure. If you're willing to walk me through it.
Yeah. Because it's a good exercise. Because,
Yeah.
so you're dealing with this deck, which is a whole bunch of cards, and a deck does things like shuffle and maybe deal or whatever.
Yeah.
And then this operation to convert a rank into a kind of human or whatever, poker valid, kind of,
Yes.
what I mean? We have to do that conversion. So the question I would pose to you is, where do you want to put that? Is that something that belongs in the deck class, or is that something that belongs in the card class?
Um.
And you might think like, well, does it even matter? And it's like, well, basically, if you want to be a happy programmer, you want to design things so that as little knowledge is shared as possible between classes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a deck of cards should just basically operate on a collection of cards. It shouldn't need to know how to convert a rank into a, I don't even know what the right word is,
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Anyway, but let's do this. Let's make a method here, and we can call it. Let's see here. Real rank, or I don't know what to call it. What would you call it? Table rank?
Yeah, that's fine.
And you would have to define a kind of okay, I'm going to do it like the weakest way possible. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Just like this. If rank is equal to 0, no, wait, if rank is equal to, okay, so 0 is 2, right? The lowest rank. And so 8 would be 10.
Correct.
So 9, 10, and 11 are Jack, Queen, King, Ace.
Yeah.
9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, so if rank is 9, we'll say Jack, else if rank equals 10, we return Queen. All right, and then 11, 12, King, Ace. All right.
Yep.
Otherwise, rank is equal to rank
It's
plus 2. Right?
Okay. Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So here's your table rank. And then now if we want to, there's other probably more beautiful ways to do that. But anyway, now when we
that makes the most sense to me right now. Yeah.
Okay, so now when we want to output the card, we'll just change this to say table rank. And what it'll do is run this, and the result of this method it'll put out there. So let's see if that feels right. Deck dot, what was it? List cards.
Yes.
It broke. Undefined method plus for nil class. Line 27. What did I do? It's saying that some of your cards have no rank at all. All right, let me just comment that out and run it again. There's our deck. Those cards. There's your high value ones. Those are looking good, and the rest aren't looking good.
Right.
Why is that? Cards dot first dot rank 0. Huh. Cards dot fourth dot rank. Cards dot maybe you know what? It might be that I didn't put self here. Let's try this. All right, let's try that now. There we go.
Hey, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And so self is,
Well,
that basically makes that stuff down in the card array variable, it makes those values available outside of that method. Is that correct-ish?
yeah, it's correct-ish. Basically,
I like it.
self.rank equals rank. It's basically the exact same thing as this. It's a different way of declaring an instance variable.
Okay.
I have no idea why they did that. It's kind of weird to me. But I don't like to second guess. I mean, maybe I don't understand what they're doing. But anyway, I'm pretty sure if I replaced self here with, let me just try that. Oh, I forgot to remove the dot. That's irritating. Okay. Okay. I'm pretty sure that it would still work just by doing that. Yep, it does. So,
Okay.
so up above, they were creating instance variables in a just a different way.
Okay.
So, anyway, so let's go back down here. I'm not sure what the next thing to do is.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess let's just keep scrolling through. Okay, so we've got it to output our entire deck of cards.
Yeah. Well, these things defines a rank, defines a suit. Did you write that?
Yeah. I did. It was as I was building it. I just
Okay.
kind of wanted to check myself as I was building it to make sure that what I was doing actually worked.
Yeah, great.
So yeah, that's why I did that. Like I kind of built the rank up first. I wanted to double check myself, and I was like, okay, well that works. So let's move on to the suits.
Right.
Okay, that worked.
But probably these were returning nil because up here they're not set as instance variables, so they wouldn't.
Yeah, I think I had it as an instance variable when I was building it, and then as I started to go along and I was into the shuffle and then dealing like a top one, I think then I started to get a little hectic and I was scrambling and I was moving stuff all over.
Well, let's make these instance variables because I think it's something you would need to refer to more than once throughout your code. And we can probably just delete these because if you need to refer to ranks or suits, you can just do so anywhere. You don't need special methods for it. So, and the same thing goes for this. Like it's fine to leave this method here, the cards method.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just leave it there. Okay, so what is shuffle?
What is it? It's basically taking everything that's built up in the cards array and randomizing it.
Okay.
Right?
Is that like a Ruby?
Yes.
Unbelievable. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
How about that?
There you go.
And if oh man, you learn something new every day. I mean, how could I not know that? That's such a fundamental thing.
Cool.
So that means we could do something like this. We could say deck.shuffle and then do deck.list cards, and they would have, look at them, all shuffled up.
There we go. Okay.
See, they've all been shuffled. See,
Yeah.
you're in great shape, man.
Cool. Okay. So it's working-ish. It was. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Oh, and here's a function you have. Look, you already wrote
See,
this.
I was starting.
I mean, this is list cards.
I was like getting a little flustered. I think like one little thing was off. What it was this. It was not. I was getting all the garbage stuff, basically every little minute detail, and I wanted it narrowed down to Jack of Diamonds, and I couldn't get it there. I couldn't figure out how to get it there.
Oh, I mean, you've already written. I'm going to delete my list cards thing because you've already got one.
Okay.
You've already got it. You spelled output wrong. Maybe that was causing you some headache.
Oh my goodness. It probably was, because every time I would put output, it would just return an error. And I'm sitting there going, what do you mean?
Oh, that's just so frustrating. All right.
Oh boy.
Okay, let's go back and run it again. Let's see how we're doing. Deck. Here's my deck. Deck shuffle. Deck output. And there's the output followed by that ugly thing that I don't know how to get rid of.
Yeah, how do you... That's what I don't like. That's what I was trying to get rid of.
Yeah, let me figure that out. Let's see here. Ruby remove or Ruby method. Sometimes it's like I don't know. How do I suppress the output of a return value? Yeah. No, it's more like I want to do that in a method. I mean, you got to return something. It's
right.
You got to return something. I guess you just put nil at the end. Or you know what you can return is like just an empty character.
Oh, you could. Okay, so essentially, like, I guess I could put like a string of text there.
Yeah, you could say return. That's your deck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it.
And it'll spit all that out.
Yeah. So if we do deck.output, boom, and then
gotcha.
Shuffle, deck.output, shuffled up.
That's okay. So I needed something else to return there to basically swap that out for all that other stuff. Okay. That's where I was getting hung up with. So, okay, so looking here, so I've got a shuffle method. I've got a deal method, which takes the top card off the entire deck.
Oh, cool.
So if I wanted, is there a way that I could literally just put like at the end just puts, that says puts cards, or no, it'd be deck dot shuffle dot deal dot output? Does that make no? Because my output is every single card.
Well, when you deal,
I guess what I'm looking for is there a method to where I could basically deal together as one now. I want it to shuffle and take the top card off.
Oh,
would I just combine the two?
Yeah, and
okay.
And you just make a new method for that. Let's call it. We'll call it shuffle deal.
There we go.
Or shuffle and deal. I'm a big fan of super explicit method names because programming is hard enough without trying to decipher, And look, all we got to do is do shuffle. We can say self shuffle if that makes it a little more clear. Inside any method, self is when you don't. It's implied that everything you're calling is being run on self. So you don't have to explicitly say so, but sometimes it just helps to kind of ground you to say self shuffle. Oh, I'm shuffling myself, and I am a deck. So, and then we can say self deal. Now, one thing I would suggest is rather than reinvent the wheel here with this put statement,
Uh-huh.
we can. Why don't we just use the one that's already tried and
It's
trusted
already,
up here called output
yes.
card? So how would we
Yes.
do that down in shuffle and or down in here? What should I
Let's
put
see. So
instead?
then you would just do puts card dot output card.
Well, we would just say top card,
Oh, the top card.
output card, because the put statement is already in this method,
It's already built in. Yeah,
I
that's right.
think, right? Yeah, there it is. So, and we'll comment this out. I'll just delete it. So we'll delete that. So there's deal.
Okay, so deal is already okay. That's got the output card in there. So the shuffle and deal. Yeah, you just need to tell it to shuffle and deal, and it should shuffle and output that one card.
Yep. Let's see if we can get that to work. All right, Mr. Deck, why don't you shuffle and deal? What did I do wrong? Did I spell something wrong? There's no way that I'm not saving this. Maybe there is a way. It's weird. Deck, shuffle.
You never know.
And deal. There it goes. King of diamonds.
Hey, there we go.
Let's deal a few. Okay, we're dealing like crazy. And now,
Hey, there we go. It's
if I do deck.cards.size, I'm down to 38 cards.
oh, nice.
So it's working, right?
Yes. Awesome. Cool. So I was close.
You were really close, man. And this session with you, to be honest, is really encouraging to me because
Cool. I was going to wrap this session up with, okay, now that you've seen kind of like my first kind of like go at it, how do you gauge kind of where I'm at? Is there a way you can gauge?
yeah, I mean, I think you're going to do well, basically.
Awesome. Cool. That's encouraging to hear. I like that.
Yeah, you are going to do well. You're far ahead of other people who I have seen all the way through into developer jobs, at least on week 1, week 2, whatever week this is for you.
Yeah. We're only a couple weeks in. So
Yeah.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, I would like to recommend a book that
Yes, please.
the nice thing about boot camp students is that they're already spending many thousands of dollars, so it's very easy to convince them to spend $30 on a good book.
Yeah, right. Let's do a little bit more. Why not?
Yeah. So there's a book called Eloquent Ruby.
Okay.
I don't even know who wrote it. Some guy named maybe Russ Olson, and it's on Amazon, and you can get a brand new one for like $35 or a used one probably for $20. It's not like Ruby changes that much, and you don't have to read it like. It's really helpful to kind of just get really comfortable with the Ruby language, and the more comfortable you are with Ruby, and stuff like classes and arrays and hashes, and just manipulating these data structures and it makes such a huge difference when you start to do Rails, which Rails is just Ruby on Rails. That's why it's called Rails. And what that means is like you're constrained by this framework. The framework is the Rails, and so you're constrained. You can't go anywhere, but if you're willing to go where the Rails are pointing you, you can go really fast. And that's what Ruby on Rails is like. If you'll just adopt these conventions with how we're going to approach this problem, you can fly. But
it's like you can work at warp speed.
Yeah, like if you want to build web apps the way that we think is a pretty good way to do it, then you're going to be able to build stuff 10 times faster than everybody else. And that's really true. It's definitely true. But working in Rails can be, it's intimidating. There's a lot of new stuff thrown at you, and at least if the language itself is not part of the new stuff, if you understand the Ruby side, then it's helpful. And that book, I bought that book a couple years ago, and I was like, man, I wish I'd had this book when I first started, because I did have some books, and I tried to read them, and I just, sometimes you need someone to say, here's one way to do it, here's another way to do it, but here's a really nice way to do it, and here's why. And I learn a lot by examples. I don't learn well from specification. I learn by example. So that book is really good.
Yes. Cool. I will definitely look into that. Cool.
Yeah. here, let's do this. I'm not saying we have to stop at all, but let me just push up what we got here. I'm going to copy it.
Okay.
Do you know what a gist is?
No.
Okay, so I'll share my screen with you so you can see what I'm doing. Because if you probably should send me some gists.
Okay.
I typed in gist.com, but I'm pretty sure that's not it. Okay, so GitHub. I know you know what GitHub is. GitHub has this service they offer for free called Gist, and
Okay.
so I just went there, and it's blank. And watch, I'm going to paste in the code that we just worked on, and I can give it a description like Alan's deck of cards or whatever with Phil. And I can give it a file name. You don't even have to. I'll just call it cards.rb,
Okay.
whatever. And then I can create a gist. If I create a secret gist, I'll just create a secret one. If I create a public one, it's hypothetically indexable by search engines. But you see how it kind of formatted everything really nicely?
Yep.
And this, and I have a URL, which is a unique identifier for this. So I can email that to you, or actually what I'll do is just paste it in the Hangout.
Yeah.
And now if you go click on it, it'll pull up that exact thing, and so you can have it to mess
nice.
with. And sometimes it's just a really easy way. Like you could be like, why isn't this working? I'm losing my mind. And you could highlight a little block of code and make a gist, and then send me the link to the gist.
Very cool.
You know,
Okay.
and I might be like riding a bus, but I could still pull it up on my phone and go, oh, it's just this small thing.
Yeah. No, that would be awesome.
And that's much easier than you trying to email me something. You know, because of the formatting and the permanence of gist, it's really a good way to do this.
Cool. No, I like that. Yeah, that seems like that could come in handy.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of other cool stuff we could do too. Like there's this thing called revisions, which I've never really paid attention to. You know, but like I can come down here and leave comments, and you can respond to my comments, and it's really neat.
Cool. Yeah. If I run into anything, I'll give that a try. I may this week. I don't know. We'll see. I noticed that stuff to do this week. I guess there's some big challenge with 2D arrays. So I'm sure I'll have a few headaches over that.
Yeah, I think you're going to be in good shape.
Cool. I like it. It's good to hear. I won't tell you how many hours I spent on this. That's okay.
Well, you know what, Alan? There's no way around that. That's for sure. I mean,
Yeah.
It's almost like everything you learn, the amount of pain that you've experienced beforehand makes it that much more precious. You know, when you're like, oh my gosh. You know?
It does. It really does. Unfortunately.
Like I spent 3 hours trying to get this thing to work because of a typo, and that pain, that pain will make you just careful. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Sorry, I sound like such a lecturer. Sometimes I hear myself and I'm like, just shut up, man. Just let people have a good time.
No, I like it. This has been great. No, I think that this is awesome.
Okay. Well, do you want to wrap it up? I mean, we can meet again later in the week if you want to.
Yeah, no, I think this is good, and I'll kind of I'll keep going this week. I just wanted you to take a look at this and kind of walk through it and kind of get your thoughts and hear you as you walk through kind of what I did there, and then let me keep working this week, and if I run into anything, I'll definitely let you know.
Okay, I'll put this video up and send you a link to it so you can play it back.
That sounds good.
Play it back at 1.5.
Yeah, I know, right?
All right, man.
Perfect.
Good luck.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
You're doing great.
All right.